Wow. Never heard that before. Where'd that come from? You know, I get Us Weekly magazine. Y'all see that? Us Weekly. And the deal is, I don't know why I get Us Weekly, but they're always talking about this summer gun, the Royals and all this stuff. And I read it, and I think Beth and I figured out why we get this magazine. I get this, and I get Bon Appetit magazine every month. And we think that my mother in law is sending these magazines to us from her grave. So she passed away like in 2018. And I'm thinking that she's like set us up like on a 10-year magazine. So I feel like I don't need to throw them away. So I do try to read them a little bit. Over the weekend, I was holding the rabbit. I was holding one of our baby rabbits, and the dang thing peed all over me. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I took off my t-shirt. That's the only thing I had on was my t-shirt and my underwear. And the kids go, they're like, Daddy, why are you going shirtless? Why ain't you got a shirt on? I said, honey, I am doing this for your mama. Eye candy, baby. That's what I'm doing. So Beth takes a picture of me like flexing my muscles with my shirt off. And I says, what are you going to do with that, you sick pervert? Hey, listen, get your jolly somewhere else, right? Anyway, she says she's going to blackmail me with it. I said, blackmail me with it? I looked at the picture. It looked good. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, me without my shirt on. She's like, I'm going to blackmail you with it. She says, you get out of line. She says, I'm posting this on Facebook. I said, honey, make my day. I said, the picture looks good. So, I've lost a little weight, done a little stuff. So hope y'all had a great, great weekend. Boy, we got everybody in the house today. We got Stacy's who's about to go on a trip, and hope you have a wonderful time. We got Ken with us. We got Rick live and in person. Thank God, Rick. I get worried about you at all them meetings at work. You gonna have to get out of there. You have to take an early retirement. I'd say get out of there by August. They're gonna kill you with all those meetings. And Dwayne is with us. Jim, where you been, my friend? I bet Jim's been on a vacation. And we got Matt Jollywally. So everybody's good and hopefully having a really, really good day. So I appreciate y'all coming up with names for the talk that I'm giving the college kids. I'm supposed to meet with my professor today. I swear, I think I'm going with this though. It just seems like, and he's going to put the caboose on. I can hear him now. Dr. Cameron go. He'll say, "Bobby, it's probably not right that we talk about robbing banks in the college." And I got it, right? I got it. But look, how to legally rob a bank, baby. Look at this. I've already put it together. Let's just go through it a minute. How to legally rob a bank. Let's go. Let's start their slideshow. Of course, if you look at my account, we're not really robbing much of a bank. It's like the bank is really robbing us, right? So by creating your one-person hedge fund, and it's great. First, you need money to make money. I'm just going to run through this real quickly with y'all. I thought this is going to be. Kind of good, right? So you need money to make money. We all know that. And it's one thing to tell you that you can create a paper account, but that's not, the fun part about it. But it is a good place to develop your skills, right? If you don't have the funds, get you a little paper account. You can't do it in Tasty Works, but you certainly can do it in Think or Swim. What about your family and friends? It's like when I told my mama, I said, Mama, I'll manage your money for me. She's like, Bubba, I watch your ass. I am not about to let you manage my money for me. Because mama knows all the vices that I have, right? So she's like, no. But maybe there's a family and friends that, would trust you if you're trying to get started into the money management game. Develop you a little track record and show them that you've, been able to, at least not to lose money, that you can make a little and try to do them well. We've got our own personal funds that we can put in and manage, right? Or if you don't have the money, get you a side hustle, right? How about raise some pigs or some goats or chickens or something, or, set you up a little roadside stand, have you a yard sale, sell, like Dave Ramsey said, sell everything that ain't attached, and even to the point where the kids get nervous that they're going to go, right? So get you a little side hustle. What can you do on the side to make you some money? And then once you develop a track record, right, people will say, hey, would you manage money for me? I mean, it's a miraculous thing that anybody would ever come up to you and do that. But it happens. Hey, I'm living proof of it, right? People say, hey, it looks like you know what you're doing. Of course, y'all know me personally, and y'all know I don't. And you develop a little track record, and people start throwing money at you to do stuff. Now, how y'all like this, y'all? I went from 3 offensive weapons to 4, and one of them because I'm being politically correct because I don't want the women to be upset at me. But let's talk about our offensive weapons. We need Superman. Who is Superman when we're going to rob the bank? Well, Superman is Delta. Delta. See, because I'm watching The Heist, or is it Money Heist on Netflix? Y'all, let me tell you something. If you are not watching that show, friend, please, please, please watch it. It is so good, y'all. It's about a bank robbery. I think that's why I'm talking about bank robbery so much. It's just like it's a really good show. And I just started on part 2, which I think is season 2 in Spain. I don't know if they say seasons or whatever, but it's got subtitles. And I think it's in Spanish. And it's so funny because what they say is in English, and you see their mouths doesn't go with English because they're speaking Spanish. And even what they're saying in English, all the audio wise, is not the same thing as what's being printed on the subtitles on the bottom. It's fabulous. Best like, why would they say 4 and it would say 8 at the bottom? I said, honey, I don't know. I said, but that's what's really captivated me about that show, Money Heist or The Heist, whatever it is. All right, so our first one, we'll go through this quickly, is Superman, right? He's Delta. He's the dude that goes in to the bank and says, everybody get on the floor. But remember, we're doing this legally, right? Get on the floor. Hello, ladies. Get on your yoga mat. Everybody lay down. Y'all be comfortable. We don't want any heroes here. Y'all just lay down. And that's what Superman does. Superman brings a level of calmness to the room. It's like if Superman comes to rob the bank, we all feel good. And all we got to do is lay down. Nobody try to be a hero. We're taking money from the bank. Is this resonating with y'all, or did this come from? Is this y'all are my guinea pigs, right? So, or is it coming from? If this is goofy, y'all just tell me. All right. So, how do I do this again? All right. Weapon number 2, baby, is Vega, Batman. And I put Batman on here because I like the Batmobile. Remember, we were talking about we need us a getaway driver. Who better than Vega, right? So we had Superman who keeps Delta flat, keeps everybody flat on the floor. We don't want to be too bullish. We don't be too bearish. We want to be just neutral in our little portfolio. And then we've got Batman outside. He's got the getaway car. He's keeping the SWAT team out. He may even have Robin with him. We don't even need Robin, y'all. Robin is, he's the wimpiest of all, right? So this is weapon number 2. He's outside. We want volatility to remain calm. Everybody outside, listen, y'all go to the hot dog stand. Y'all mind your own business. We're in here robbing the bank. We want everything to be just like normal outside. No shootings, no, drive-by whatevers. We want everything calm on the outside. And that's what Vega does. And that's why we've got to not have a lot of negative Vega. You have a lot of negative Vega, you got the SWAT team outside, you got shootings outside, and you got all this garbage outside. We don't need that. Where did Matt go? Did he say something? All right, here we go. Now, here's my politically correct one. I gotta put a female in here. All right, Stacy, we're putting a female in here, make everybody feel good. So our weapon number 3 is our Wonder Woman, right? And I think that's Wonder Woman from this 1984 movie or whatever. I got the thing. She is kind of like Sweet Beth, right? Sweet Beth is the one that says, hey, Bob, you can't put more than this amount of money into your accounts. You can't buy this much in pigs. You can't buy this much in goats. She is the one, trust me. She'll say she's not, but she's the one that controls the purse strings, right? Now, I don't know how it is at y'all's house, but Mama in my house, she controls the purse string. Wonder Woman is controlling the purse strings and the buying power that we're going to be able to use, right? We always say we don't want to use more than 50% of our buying power toward all of our little options and all the things that we're doing. So Weapon number 3 on the offense is our buying power. So we got what we got so far. We've got 3 superheroes. We've got buying power that we monitor. We've got Delta, which is Superman. We got Vega, which is Batman. So we're going through this quick. Weapon number 4, baby, is Homer freaking Simpson. Now, the reason I chose Homer, and I'm thinking to myself, would college kids even know who Homer Simpson? Surely to God, right through all the years, they know who's. What is wrong with Matt? He keeps coming in now. Surely everybody knows who Homer Simpson is. This is a superhero, y'all. This is Joe Q Public. This is me sitting around. How many times y'all seen Homer in his whitey tighties? I mean, he is me. We've got the same physique. We've got the same body build. Homer Simpson represents just Joe Q Public. And what does Joe Q Public does? Can you imagine going into a bank and it's Homer Simpson who is your bad guy? Your not bad guy, bad guy. He's the guy that goes up and says, do it, or whatever he says, and he's like, oh, give me the money. That's what Theta does. Theta goes up to the little teller. He says, here's my little bag. Toss the money into my bag. So that's superhero number 4, who is an unlikely character. So he's not really a muscular superhero. He just does what he does. He does it very slow. He's not fast. He doesn't have gazelle-like speed. He just goes in, holds a little basket open and says, hey, teller, put it in the money. He is Theta. He represents time. And Homer cannot possibly do his job if Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman are not doing their job. Okay? Now, we only need one defensive weapon. Now, we have a variety, but the defensive weapon that I'm talking about is, how about a hedge? Isn't that cool? We got a little hedge that you and I put together to protect our accounts. And I thought, hey, we'll throw Captain America in as well because he's got the shield. We want a shield to protect our backside, right? You know, when you're reading in the Bible and you talk about the armor, the armor of Christ, you know, you've talked about that, how there's no protection on the backside. Well, we're not that good, right? We're not that good. So we're not biblically that good. So we've got to have some protection on our backside, and that is our hedges. What are our hedges? Well, we've got some diagonals that we use to kind of hedge. We've got the VIX hedge that we use, and now we've been talking about the Black Swan hedge. So a variety of ways to hedge an account. All right, so that's our defensive weapon. But with any good story, we need a few villains, y'all. So I put the Joker in there, right? He kind of represents fear. Because how many times do you and I puke positions because we're fearful? Fear. Fear pops in. Fear pops into a way that makes us not act in our own best interest. Again, you remember me talking about a calendar spread from 2016, I believe, that I lost $300, and I swore I'd never do another calendar spread. Over a $300 loss. Y'all, I lose $300 in an hour now. Y'all see my account. Y'all see how it is, up and down. So fear makes us act irrationally. It takes us away from what we know is the calm of keeping Superman with everybody flat and Vega keeping everyone flat, and it makes us fearful, and we start puking and closing positions without looking at the forest. We're looking at the individual trees. Well, then we've got greed that comes in, right? We are greedy son of a gun sometimes. And how do you overcome greed? Well, you know, you've got to sit there and go, man, for example, today the market's up huge. And I'm looking at the AIM account and the Tastyworks account. And I'm looking and I open it and I go, man, it's up big. Man, this account ought to be up just huge today. Huge. Well, let's see how it's doing today. It is up $58 today. 58 flipping dollars. Oh, sorry. Now it's up 81. Now it's up 56. Now it's up, you know, it moves. It's up 76. Maybe we'll go over 100 in a minute. It's moving all over the place. But look at this. The P&L year to date, $5,153. Cha-ching, cha-ching, baby. And I've only been recording the net lick in this account once a week. Guess how much it's up just in 1 week? $800. So that doesn't seem like a lot, right? But what I've noticed in that account is we are actually allowing theta to do its job. Even though the majority of that count is made up of ETFs, which are leveraged ETFs, right, that move more than the underlying that they represent. I'm neutralizing that. I'm neutralizing the delta with Superman. I'm neutralizing the Vega by putting a VIX hedge in. I'm putting some black swan hedges in. So I'm neutralizing all of that with some diagonals, with some calendar spreads. And that's why that account's not up so much today. But guess what? I would rather that account go up $100 today than go up $800 today and down $700 tomorrow. So I hope y'all see what that account's doing. It's just going twinky, 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 twinky. It's going up the little thing, and it's doing really, really well. And as I look at it, I go, I see what's kind of happening here. Even though we've got all these things that are positively correlated to the market in general, I've got some brakes on it, and I would rather it grow slow than fast, because I'm seeing people with accounts out there who are getting $2,000 in a day. Dare I show it? I ain't gonna show it. I see accounts that are going up $2,000 in a day, but they're going down $3,000 the next day. Let's level it out. That's why we've got our good guys. We got Superman, we got the Wonder Woman, we got Batman, all doing their thing. Don't try to be greedy. Don't sit here and go, we're in the biggest bull market and it's just going to keep going. You and I have no idea whether it's going to keep going. Now, if it does, we're brilliant. We are brilliant. We're Einstein, baby. We have, we've come to a point where we're the stuff. And then all of a sudden the bear market hits. And then what happens? So I'm not Einstein. Y'all aren't Einstein. We don't know what's going to happen for tomorrow. So don't be greedy. Don't be greedy. All right. Envy. Oh my gosh, did I have to put Michelle Pfeiffer? Let me look at Rick's face when I put Michelle Pfeiffer up there. He's got to smile a little bit. There you go. All right. Now, because I'm speaking to a group and I don't want to be in part of the Me Too movements and all this kind of stuff, I didn't put the whole body shot where she's like that, with the legs and everything. I just put the top part. And with Michelle Pfeiffer, who's my favorite Catwoman of all time. But let's talk about envy for a little bit, right? Because I look at someone else's account today. Say Rick flashes his account today, and it's just up big time. Because Rick's account ought to be up big today, right, Rick? I mean, you should be up. I think with the kind of trades he has, he should be at Rick. And all of a sudden, I go, man, my other little account's down $700 today. Man, I wish I was Rick. Or I start wishing, man, I wish I was Jim, or I wish I was Dwayne, or I wish I was Stacy or Kent. No, or I wish I was carrying a super trader. No. I'm happy being Bobby. I'm working out my own little plan. Y'all are working out y'all's own little plan. And it's important not to look at someone else's success and go, man, why can't I do that? Don't be envious of any trade. So you see someone that's doing really, really good with a trade. You go, man, I wish I had that in my account. Envy will tear us apart if we're trying to compete with somebody else. Don't try to compete with somebody else. Who am I competing against? I am competing against myself. That's who I'm competing against. I don't want to compete against Rick or Ken or anybody or Matt Jolly Wally. No. We're a team here. So we're all doing this together. We're not to be envious of one another, looking at other trades or looking around. And with envy also comes the tendency for you and I to develop the shiny object syndrome, right? Where you and I start going, oh man, the best trade on the planet is the bloggity Jade Lizard. And then we go, oh man, I'm a Jade Lizard guy. So I'm going to trade Jade Lizard for the rest of my life. And you trade a Jade Lizard, and all of a sudden the Jade Lizard does good until you come up with the big lizard with the fat tail, or whatever Liz and Jeannie call it. And then you go, oh my gosh, that is so much better than the Jade Lizard. I'm now going to do the big lizard with the fat tail. And that's what you always chase something else. What I'd rather you do is realize that in the options market, there are two things. There are puts and there are calls. Puts and calls. It's really that simple. You got nothing else but puts and calls. So instead of saying, man, I'm going to look for the fanciest trade, just try to understand how you can buy a put, buy a call, sell a put. Those are what tools we have available to us. And you can create all kinds of combinations of trades with those, even things that you and I have not talked about or even explored. So don't look for the newest, shiniest trade. Look for how to adjust our portfolio again so that we can keep Delta at bay, we can keep Vega at bay. Don't use too much buying power so that Homer Simpson can go into the bank and open his bag. That's really all we're doing. So it doesn't matter how you get there or what trade you put on to get to that specific point. It's just remember, it's puts, calls, and you can sell them and you can buy them, and you can do them in any and all combinations. All right. How about this for a villain? What about your financial advisor? See, the problem is I've got people and friends who think their financial advisors are the stuff because at Merrill Lynch, they'll buy lunch for you once a week and you get to go out. I don't know if they did their COVID or whatever, but you get to go out and they'll buy you lunch. Do you know why they're buying you lunch? Because they're taking your money, right? And you think they're great because your account has been growing over the last 10, 11, 12 years. And you go, my God, they must be the most brilliant person on the planet. Y'all, in a bull market, everybody's an Einstein. In a bull market, everybody's an Einstein. And you and I have the largest, we're experiencing the largest, longest bull market of, all right, Stacy had to go. She's at the airport. Bye, Stacy. We'll see you later. Yep, Ken, you say fear of missing out. That's exactly it, man. Fear of missing out. FOMO. So, and then you got the YOLO, you only live once, right? So let's throw all of our money into on, red and hope that it comes up. No, 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 no. We don't want to get those type of emotions going on. But your financial advisor could actually be a villain in your personal success because your financial advisor, chances are there's some guy 30 years old or so, right? And he's working at Merrill Lynch, not to throw Merrill Lynch under the bus, but what is he going to do? He's never seen a bear market in his entire life. So if we're looking at longer term, the guy who's a financial genius now may not be tomorrow. So he may actually be a villain. Now, here's what I want you to think about with your financial advisor. Ask them one simple question. And I told you, I heard Tom Shoshnoff, as Beth says, say, listen, if you're interviewing a financial advisor, ask them one simple question. And he said this question, and I'm telling you, I didn't understand what he was talking about. And it took me a couple of years before I finally realized what he was talking about. Here's the question. What are you going to do to reduce my cost basis? So you're interviewing someone that's going to manage your money. You're interviewing someone that's currently managing your money. Get on the phone with them. Call them up today. Surely they'll take your call and say, hey, I just got a question, Jim. What are you doing to reduce my cost basis? What do you think the response is going to be? The response is going to be crickets. You ain't going to hear a thing. They're not going to know what you're talking about. I would dare say 99.9% of them will have no idea what you're talking about. I had no idea what they were talking about. So the situation is this. What does reducing cost basis mean? Well, it simply means this. If I am buying 100 shares of stock, all right, at $100, that's an easy calculation for us to do. You're buying stock at $100. Why buy it at $100 when you can sell a put, maybe a $95 or $90 put, and you can get, if the price goes down to $95 or $90, then you can buy that same stock for $95 or $90. And if the stock goes up, guess what happened? You've collected premium that you get to put in your little account that you get to take the family out to the Applebee's, right? And you get to get the 2 for $20 with the spinach and artichoke deal, which is delicious, by the way. All right. So you're reducing basis. So instead of paying $100 for that stock, you've paid $90 for it, or you've paid $100 for the stock and you got to keep, a couple of bucks from selling options against it. Then once you own that stock, what do? You sell calls against that stock. Sell calls against it. And what does that do? It brings income in, so that ultimately, in the perfect world, eventually what you spent $100 on per share may only cost you $60 or $70 to purchase that share stock, because you turned it into an ATM machine. You've turned it into a cash machine. Rather than just owning the house, you have turned your house into, like my little upstairs, whatever this thing is called, loft in my bedroom. You turn it into an income generating machine by letting your Aunt Agnes move in. And she's going to pay you 200. Well, we would never let her move in, but you get the gist. You're renting out something. You're renting out your stock. You're selling options around it so that you're reducing basis. So when you call your financial advisor today, I dare say, ask them, hey, what are you doing to reduce my cost basis? They will not have a clue. And I'm going to take up for them for a little bit, because I didn't have a clue. I did not have a clue. I only had a clue after being engaged with Tastyworks for, what has it been now? They're saying, 10 years or so? So here we are. And after Sosnoff finally said, hey, ask your advisor this one question, I didn't know what he was talking about. It took me a couple of years, because I'm a little bit on the slow side. All right. So try it. You got someone manage your money. What are you doing to reduce my cost basis? They will have not a clue. I really love this book, y'all. The more and more I think about Robert Luciello's book, the more I love it. I think it is a book that could change anyone's financial future. And the reason is this, not necessarily because of the algorithm that he created, right? I think it's still brilliant. But what he was able to do is, through this one book, he killed at least two villains. He killed the villain of fear, and he killed the villain of greed, and maybe even the villain of envy. This book single handedly killed fear and greed, because what it did is it gave you a trigger to tell you when to take profits, rather than going, I think I'll wait a little longer to take profits, and then having it crash. And he also told you, hey, when to be greedy and buy a little more. I think this was a really important book, not for the AIM system. I don't want you to think about that. I'm not saying the AIM is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but what was good is that this book convinced me that, wait a minute, I'm maybe not the best person to know when to take profits, and I'm probably not the best person to know when to buy more and to become greedy. I need a math based solution that can help me to make those types of decisions, right? So, how do you overcome all of those villains? Well, you do it mathematically. And we do it a couple ways in our group, right? We do it with a spreadsheet that will kind of tell us, hey, are you delta neutral? Do you need to adjust those? What about your buying power? Are you using too much or too little? We've got all these guidelines. We've got all these mathematical equations, statistics, and algorithms that tell us what to do. Why? Because I don't know about you, but I am an undisciplined human being in so many areas of my life. So many areas. I don't like taking my vitamins. Right? These things taste horrible, by the way. They taste like, let's say you took a pickled beet and left it out in the sun for 3 days. That's what these vitamins taste like. It's just horrible. And I don't like taking them. But I got a vitamin D deficiency because I don't get outside, I guess, enough. I don't know why. But I need my vitamins every day. And so many times I don't take them. And I'm supposed to take 4 of these a day. You know how many I took today? I took 3 because I just can't stomach the 4th one. So here's what I'm going to do all of a sudden, because I'm coming in, y'all. I'm going to take one right now. I'm going to get my full vitamin D and all my vitamin D. Even though, oh my God, that is the most horrible tasting thing I've ever had in my life. Ugh. All right. It's a gummy, by the way. I moved all my vitamins and supplements to gummies. thinking I could do it better instead of those horse pills. Trust me, it doesn't work. So how do we overcome the villains? I got to have an app with a reminder to tell me, Bobby, have you taken 4 of those nasty, gnarly tasting vitamins? And then I have to find something to click that says, yes, I have. I have to do that with my fasting that I've been doing, with my weight loss. I got to have something because I'm undisciplined. Boy, that's terrible. And if it's just me doing it all on my own, I cannot do it. All right. So, how do we overcome the villains? We develop an algorithm, or we develop a spreadsheet, or we develop some mathematical backup basis that will tell us what to do because I am not that bright. I need something that says, okay, Bob, do nothing, buy 2 shares, buy 2 shares, buy 2 shares. I got to have something to tell me that. I got to have something to tell me, hey, dude, your deltas are out of line. I got to have something to tell me that my buying power is out of line or that my Vega is out of line. That's what I need. And that's why you and I have developed and continue to develop a couple of different spreadsheets, whether it be for the AIM program or it be for the regular option program that we do. We've developed something. We're basing it on something. Now, you don't have to agree, and your algorithm doesn't have to be what mine is, right? I told you, you could take away every stinking one of these 10 things and put your own thing in. Instead of EMAs, you RSI, stochastics. What's the other one? RSI, stochastics. What's that dang other one everyone uses? I don't know. Change it to whatever you want to. Pick you out 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. I got 10, right? Pick out anything and rate these things and figure out a little formula that will tell you, hey, how much you ought to put in this or that, and that will mathematically give you an equation to act. Unless you are different from me and you're some superhuman that just knows how to do it on the fly. I don't know how to do it on the fly. I have to have direction. Can you imagine me, little Bobby, in 3rd grade? Do you know what kind of student I was? My mama would cry. My mama would squall. She would be like, why won't you do your homework? Why won't you do it, Bobby? And she would sit up with me and she would force me to do my homework. And finally, in 5th grade, I looked at my mama and I said, Mama, I do things different than everybody else in my class. The kids get mad because I don't bring my books to school. I don't bring my books home. And I can remember Alan Kaysen. His mama is probate, though. She's the mayor of Carrollton, Georgia right now. She was probate judge for Carroll County. She is the mayor of the biggest city in our county, Carrollton, Georgia, right now. And I can remember him raising his hand in 5th grade. And he looks at Miss Harrington and says, Miss Harrington, will you please make Bobby carry books home? He never carries books home and he never does homework. And you know what Miss Harrington said to him? She said, Alan, mind your own damn business. Well, she didn't say that. She said, mind your own business. And as long as Bobby is making A's and B's, you let him learn his own way. I've never had someone take up for me like that. She actually took up for me. Then in 7th grade, I got into band. Oh my God, will you shut up? So I got into band and that changed my life. All of a sudden, I had someone who said, hey man, I was the most terrible trumpet player on the planet. But I had someone that my band director believed in me. And guess what? I got a scholarship, trumpet scholarship to the University of Kentucky, Jacksonville State University, anywhere I wanted to go with my trumpet. And I marched in the band in college. He believed in me, right? And I started making all A's. I really did. I learned differently. And my mama, at some point around that 5th grade, says, I understand you learn differently. I'm going to leave you alone. And mama went to bed. And so here's what she wanted me to do. She wanted me to do homework at 5 o'clock in the evening. That ain't when Bobby did homework. Guess what? I was a night owl. I did homework at 11 o'clock at night. I did homework at midnight. I did homework at 2 in the morning. I did homework at 7 o'clock right before 7:30 class. That was a way that I learned because I was undisciplined. This helps me to become a little more disciplined. All right. So, how do we overcome the villains? We use that, right, to make decisions. And then we evaluate and we analyze, hey, how are we doing? How are we doing? And we find those things that work, and then we find those things that don't work. Now, beginning of this account started at 35,000 on March the 29th, right? Now, I was recording the profit every day. So you'll see it was a little jagged. So then the last few times, what I've done is I'm only recording the net lig of both the S&P 500 and the AIM account, which now I've named Bain, right? Now I said it's Bobby's because I'm not following Lucello's advice. I'm following my own algorithm. So I called it Bobby's Automatic Investment, whatever the M stands for, versus the S&P 500. And I'm saying, hey, whatever it is working so far. It may change tomorrow. We may dip way down here. We don't know. But right now, we are pulling away from the overall market. And guess how we're doing it? We're not doing it by making $800 a day and losing $700 a day. We're making $50 and $100 and $100 and $100 and $100. And look at that. This thing is just boom, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom, chicka, boom. It's doing well, right? So that's account is up 14%, 6%. But y'all know we're keeping it real. The other account, hey, we're barely making money as of Friday. We laugh about it a little bit. The good thing is we're not losing money. We're not losing money, but we're churning. So I'm faced to look and say, I don't want to chase something that's new and shiny, but this is pretty doggone strong, and it's based on math. It's based on probabilities. It's based on keeping Superman at the counter. It's keeping Wonder Woman in charge of our buying power, and then we've got Batman outside making sure the getaway car is ready to rob the bank. This is how you overcome the villains. Questions? Ken, I have a few friends who were financial advisor brokers said that's 4 years ago they're doing something else. How about that? How about that? So basically what we've done is taking you through kind of, one of the things I was talking about with the college kids, but I thought it'd be good to go through it with us too, just to kind of think about it. And I think when you think about, the superhero, I just love throwing Homer Simpson in there. Homer Simpson, he's kind of the wild card. He does not belong in the same class with Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman. He just doesn't. But isn't it kind of cool that we go, oh, I get it. If Homer could not possibly hold the money bag and keep his calm and cool without getting into trouble unless we negate the effects of having our delta out of control, our buying power out of control, and our volatility out of control. Without that, Homer could not possibly do one simple thing. He's like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, right? You got one simple thing. We want to get off the island. We got to get off the island, but we can't because of the mayhem that was created by Gilligan. But can you imagine if on Gilligan's Island, perhaps if one day they'd been visited by Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, could they have got off the island? I'm not sure with Gilligan's shenanigans. But what we're trying to do is to compare all of that into one little scenario where we go, okay, we've got a mission. The mission is you and I are going to make money. We're going to open the money bag. But that's Homer's job because you couldn't have Homer. Homer could not be the one to tell everybody to get down and stay on the ground because nobody's going to listen to Homer. They're not going to listen to him. What are they going to do? They're going to laugh at Homer, right? Homer could not possibly drive the getaway car. No way we're going to let Homer drive the getaway car. You and I have to allow Homer to do the simplest job. Hold a money bag, tell the teller to put money into the bag. That's theta. And theta can only do its job when delta and Vega and buying power are kept at bay. All right, what do y'all think? Give me some feedback.
That looked good, Bobby, as far as I'm concerned. That was a good overview. I mean, it's not the typical. I mean, when people think you're going to talk about the stock market, they're talking about, figure you're going to talk about stocks or bonds or ETFs instead of the what actually makes the option world move. So yeah, I think that was a good overview. I like the superheroes too, and I like Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah,
Don't tell my
Michelle
wife.
Pfeiffer. Don't tell. Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. Where is Michelle Pfeiffer, by the way? I mean, I hadn't seen her in anything. Maybe she's in something, but she needs to
That's
be out
called
there.
that's called she's old, Bobby. She's just old. I'm sorry.
I guess
She's
it happens
62
to us
years
all.
old, like I am.
Yeah, it happens to us all, doesn't it? It goes quick.
The
But
last movie she was in was Stardust, and she may have been an old gal, but she still looked good.
yeah, gotta love Michelle Pfeiffer. You know, I played right before we started. I played the Toby Keith song. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. I love that song, right? And I compare it to the options world and to my trading career in that I, just like I did with the Licello, I flipped it totally around. I did just the opposite of what Licello does. Now I'm going with the hot hand. I'm going with whatever's outperforming, we're going to buy more of it. Whatever's underperforming, we're going to dump that and just flip what Licello did totally around, right? We did a 180. I always want to say 360, but it's a 180. We did a 180. Same thing with that song. Let's do that. So I'm not as bad as I once was trading, right? Because I always tell y'all, man, I'm a horrible trader. Worst on the planet. I make all these kind of mistakes. So I'm not as bad as I once was, but I'm as bad once as I ever was. Ken, that really spoke to me when you wrote uh,
Confession.
your confession.
Yeah.
So I read your confession, and you realize, as I realize, that you and I still have these human emotions and these things that come in that allow us to still make these human errors. And guess what? We're always going to do that. I don't think there's ever going to be a time that we're going to completely rid ourselves of some of the mistakes that we make. So I'm not as bad as I once was, but I'm as bad once as I ever was. So every now and then, I have that bone-headed trade that I make that takes me down. What did I do with y'all? Y'all remember I was trading all of these stocks that I had no business doing. I wasn't comfortable with those at all. And here I was in Apple and Microsoft, and I can't even remember all the ones that we were in, and those took me down. So I still make those mistakes. Rick, you're probably still going to make those mistakes. Matt, you're going to make those mistakes. Dwayne, Jim, we're all going to make them. Uh, but we're not as bad as we once were. That's the good thing, because the mistakes that Ken makes, he's going to make fewer and fewer of those. Not to say that he's not going to be as bad once as he ever was, and that one mistake might come out, but overall, we're not as bad as we once were, because you and I are on a journey. We're on a trip, and our trip is to get a little less of those mistakes and to realize what's really important. It's not really important the basket of underlyings that we trade. It really is not. We could trade anything. I mean, choose whatever, floats your fancy. But what it is going, okay, regardless, we can compare apples to apples. How do we do that? We do that by beta weighting our deltas so that we can see that this entire portfolio is comprised of apples to apples to apples, that we can compare a Microsoft to a DraftKings. We can do those types of things. So it's really important uh, to then go, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to make sure we keep our deltas neutral to slightly bearish. That's where we want to be, because those big days, like I know a trader today who is up over $2,000 in an account. Why? Because that account has enormous positive deltas. But guess what? Let the market go down 5 points tomorrow, and that account's going to be down $1,800. Crazy. I don't want that volatility in my account. Speaking of volatility, you and I try to negate the negative effects of Vega. How do you do that? You don't carry too much negative Vega, because that's what stings. Boy, does it sting on a day when the market is down. So we try to neutralize that. Same thing with buying power. Don't use too much. Know where our limits are. Know where, and then also the only other thing that we can do is put a hedge on. And we've now entered the Black Swan hedge. By the way, was everybody able to see that video okay now? Everybody's got it good and everything's going good with the Black Swan hedge.
Yep.
Works for me.
Good. Glad y'all got that. And you got any questions about that, then let me know. Now, I'll say this. If you want to put on a Black Swan hedge, today is a great day to do it as a tranche. So you want to sell your 3 and buy your 5, today is the day. Do it on a big up day. I mean, you can put the whole thing on a great up day. And good day to put on the whole thing. Now, if you're just going to sell your shorts, horrible day. Horrible day to sell shorts, the 3 on the Black Swan hedge. If you're just going to put on the 3, selling the 3, we do that on a big down day. So kind of think about that. So hopefully, as the market moves up and you've got those short 3s, then we'll be buying those 5s on big up days. So, but we'll talk about that more. And we've got we may even do an evening session this week. We may do the 9-minute video from Ron. We'll call him Ron the Superhero. We won't even mention the last name. So we may, run through that some later this week, next week. We got plenty of time, but we'll be spending much more time on the Black Swan hedge because I want everybody to be really, really comfortable on that. All right. Does anybody have anything that you need to talk about as far as what's going on in your accounts, any adjustments you need to make? You got some broken wing butterflies that need to be taken off today, putting on, anything like that? Shoot them out. Let's take care of it.
I think Dwayne has a question in the chat, Bobby.
Oh, good. Let's see. All right. So Dwayne says, can we talk about the gold trade? Mine, which I think is the same as yours, is way underwater, unrealized, but has a very high probability of profit. I feel pressure to do something. Oh, yeah, I feel that, totally. The short put has very low delta and theta. The short put has very low delta and theta. The negative Vega on this trade is the majority of my negative portfolio Vega. It seems like GC Vega is not the same as SPX Vega. Should we do something different to hedge its Vega? Now I'm no expert on Vega, but I think Vega is kind of Vega, right? There's no way to the beta weight theta or to beta weight Vega, but I get it totally what you're doing. So here's the first adjustment on that trade. So if we look at, let's just pull up Tastyworks and let's pull up, because that's the one I've got open now. If we look at GC, so apparently gold has been going up, right? Let's find a chart. I apologize, y'all. Sock puppies after the rabbits again. All right. So looks like the progression, this is gold, is kind of upward or whatever. But yeah, I'm not seeing, for the last few days it's been upward. So what you could do, if you're feeling pressure on that, Dwayne, and let's say that you've got your, you're still, your call is probably still way up here, right? And your put is way down here. But if you're feeling pressure on this call side, which is normally where we feel pressure on that side, what can you do? What can you do? What you could do is you could take that put and you could roll it up. So if that put now that you have on is you put it on as a 5 delta, If it's a 1 delta now, roll it back up to a 1 delta. I mean, roll it back up to a 5 delta, roll it up to a 6 delta, 7 delta, to kind of negate the pressure that's going on the call side. But if you look, when did we put on this trade? I can't remember. Maybe you do, but I mean, it's probably somewhere in here. We've had a lot of jagged movements in gold, but if you'll look, it's all toward a central line. Do y'all see that kind of line that I'm bringing? Sometimes you can just naturally throw in a line to see where an underline is. And I'm kind of seeing, a lot of pivots along this line. See that? So yeah, I do see why you're saying, hey, we're maybe being tested, not really tested, but we feel pressure on the call side. What can you do? You can roll up because that's a 150-day trade that we put on, right? So I hadn't made any adjustment on mine at this time because I'm trying to look at it, in the lens of the total portfolio. And we'll spend more time on that tomorrow as we look at it. So why don't we do that tomorrow? We'll spend more time on that gold trade. Look at it, how it's affecting the account, and see if there's any adjustments that we need to do. But right now, I'm not feeling adjustments. I do see this little progression, but look, we're still not even as high as we once were. I'm as good once as I ever was, even though we got little stair steps going up in gold. But I think I do feel what you're saying with that. So my next step, if it continues upward, would be to take wherever my put is and to roll it up a bit. And I'm not going to touch my call at this time. And probably when you go to the Analyze tab, that's where you will feel your most comfort by pulling that up, seeing what that trade looks like in the Analyze tab. But very good question. And let's look at it more tomorrow when we got a little more time. It's 12:54. And put that trade on the map and analyze it and see what we're doing. Because, yeah, you and I have essentially the same trade on that. Good question. Anyone else got anything else today?
Nope, I'm good.
Y'all good?
But I do want to comment on your presentation.
Yeah.
I think you've hit the right groove. Anybody, and there's hundreds of people out there teaching the mechanics, and there's tons of resources that do it for free, like on YouTube, and of course they're all mixed, and then I would and so you're focusing on principle, like of the balance. You got your helpers, your superheroes, and you got some defined villains. One villain that you didn't get was yourself, but I guess you're breaking it down: envy, fear, greed, and I added FOMO, but FOMO is just a form of fear. It means so you did good there. Managing yourself is probably the biggest thing that you have to learn, and nobody looks at the mirror. So I think you did really good with that. And but I think you should tell them, because I bet $1 that they're going to expect you to whip out Black-Scholes model and some and the standard deviation formula and talking puts and calls and stuff. They're going to expect the mechanics, but that none of that's important compared to what you talked about. And I think you did a good thing there. Just let them know that that the bigger, the harder job is what you talked about, and whatnot. So I think that's pretty good. I liked it, and you were very creative.
Well, thanks, Ken. But you're right, though. We are the monster, aren't we? We are the villain. I mean, we totally are the one who can sabotage anything that we're doing at any moment. I say I'm not as bad as I once was, but I am as bad once as I ever was. Those things still creep in from time to time. Lord knows they do. But we're getting there. We're a work in progress, right? Wouldn't it be horrible? Don't you think it would? I mean, maybe we're all looking for the nirvana of trading, to where we wake up and we'll go, we are the stuff. But that's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And I think the quicker that we admit it, that we're never going to reach the apex of our trading career where we've got it all together. This is the most difficult endeavor I have ever taken in my life, and I am the father of 5 unruly children. And I
That's a
say it's
good point.
harder than that.
The business has called it the Holy Grail for decades. Looking for that, what you call the nirvana, everybody's looking for the Holy Grail, which is 100% profit with no risk, always profitable, never changing, and it don't exist.
It does not exist. It does not exist. And, we can point to times, as I often point to, where we have done the stuff, a 208% return. Y'all are sick of me talking about it. You're probably sick of me talking about AIM. But then, we are humbled by our current account that is basically break even for an entire year. So we never get to a point where we go, man, I got it. Man, I got it. And I think that's one of the it's actually very empowering to admit it, to go, we're not there. We'll never be there. It's a continual struggle and process, but I think we're better than we once were. We are better than we once were. And that's what we're trying to do, is to make daily improvements on what you and I do together. So anyway,
if it's a help for you, one more thing is I'm having the same struggle with my more like what I call my speculative accounts. I'm turning them, but in the real accounts, the IRAs, the big money, I'm doing really well. And it's the same thing as you, completely different trading philosophies. And this is what I wanted to say. Because it's happening to you, it's happening to me. It's not you and it's not me. I think the market is changing its sentiment, its direction slowly. You can't turn an aircraft carrier around in a harbor. It takes 30 miles to turn an aircraft carrier. And I think that's what's happening. So our typical strategies that have been our bread and butter, be standby for them to go out of favor for a while. And that's all I want to say. Yeah.
And that's when we need to realize, hey, look, it's only calls and it's only puts and a combination thereof. And, not that we're chasing shiny trades, but we need to put on something that, will work in this type market, all the while considering that let's make sure that we keep Delta in check, buying power in check, and we keep our Vega in check. Now, I think if we can do those things, the good thing is we're not going to lose money. We don't want to lose money. We don't want to have, tremendous loss. We want to gain, certainly, but I want to do it slowly. And what I'm finding is whatever is happening with this AIM account is working very, very well in this current environment. And rather than seeing $500 a day, I'd much rather see $100 a day, because I know when the market's down, I'm not going to see negative 900, most days. That it's going to be just, we're going to just kind of keep perking up. And that's what we're trying to do. All right, guys. Hope y'all have a great week. You got any questions, shoot them to me, and I will see y'all tomorrow.